everybody, I'm Scotty J, and you are watching Rock Titan Music Television. Got a great guest with us today. This is someone that we've actually spoken to in the past. We caught up with him on tour when he was with one of his bands, the Daisies. He's a tremendous bass player, but what we've recently learned from hearing his most recent solo album, Marco Mendoza has got an amazing singing voice. You've seen this guy with Lizzy. You've seen him with Whitesnake. You've seen him with John Sykes. You've seen him with Ted Nugent. This guy is amazing. He plays with so many different rockers out there, and he is a legend in his own right. And we are going to him in Romania, of all places right now, all the way over in Eastern Europe. We have got Marco Mendoza with us. Marco, how are you?
And how are you, Scotty J? I'm really good. How are you, brother? Thank you for doing this, bro. Thank you for the introduction.
Thank you. Yes, it's my absolute pleasure. And, you know, we're going to be talking all things Viva La Rock as you are about to kick off this tour in Lisbon in just a couple of days, yeah?
Yes, March 20th. So today is the 18th, in a few days, yes.
Right on. So Viva La Rock, it came out like almost a year ago. Last March, I believe.
2nd.
Yeah. So now you are you're out there in support of it, and you're out there with your man Soren on guitar. How have things been going with the reception of Viva La Rock so far?
Yeah, well, I got to correct you. Soren Anderson, I was very lucky to grab him in the studio to produce and play and sing with me and co-write. And him and I had such a great chemistry that we did this whole album in 12 days. I'm not kidding you. 12 days, very focused. But unfortunately, he is moving up, if you will.
Really? Okay.
As well he deserves. He's a very talented guy. He's a beautiful soul and a beautiful person in every possible way.
Okay.
And extremely talented. So I introduced him I introduced him Glenn Hughes a few years back.
Okay,
so he's become Glenn's guitar player. In his place, I have a couple of cats that are coming in on this tour. One of which is Tommy Gentry, who plays with the band Gun, and a few others that are Grammy Award-winning bands. And then I have Mickey McChrystal from the Tigers of Pantang. So talk about the full circle, you know. John Sykes came from Tigers of Pantang. That's another interview. But anyway, so I have those cats coming in on this tour, and they're unbelievable talents as well. And then I have Kyle Hughes on drums, who is also a cat from these are English cats, by the way, London and from Newcastle. So respectively. So I'm glad to hang out with those cats. But so the question was. Coming back to your question, what was it?
Yeah. No. So, just getting back to it then. So, Soren did all the recordings with you for Viva La Rock, but you have other touring musicians with you on this European leg of the tour.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I've done a few little runs before, but this one's, as you can tell, there's 45 dates. So it's pretty cool.
Right on.
I'm going to be all over the place.
Right on. So, what I had asked you originally was, how's Viva La Rock been received so far?
Oh, it's been, I can't tell you, like we were talking before we came on, the reception has been, to me, surprisingly so. It's been overwhelming to the place where I feel the love, man, and I feel the request. People want to hear it. So therefore, that's how you end up with all these dates.
Right.
A lot of love. And for somebody like me, you know, I have a great career. I can't complain. I've played with some of the biggest bands
yes, you have.
All over the place, and I've ended up on stages with some pretty amazing talents and big bands, et cetera, et cetera. So for me to make my own effort and go inside and to be creative and paint my own canvas, if you will, and for people to appreciate it and say, "Hey, we dig it," that means a lot, of course.
Yeah.
You know, I think as an artist, nothing means more to you than to be accepted and validated, because it encourages you to continue. You know, you feel like you're on the right track. So that's what's going on. I'm like surprised and at the same time very proud and honored and humbled and all of it. You know, but I can't tell you, man, this band these cats that I have with me are brilliant in their own right. They are just great players. They bring so much that they encourage me and they push me. They drive me. Me that I'm older. These guys are young and on fire, man. They're hungry.
Well, you're not that old,
So
Marco. You're not that old.
I
Come
love
on,
it.
man.
No, well, no, I'm just being realistic. I'm just saying I'm a little bit on the other side, but these cats are in their 20s, so
Right.
I love that energy, man.
That's cool.
And they're not jaded at all. They're new in the business and they want to experience it all. And I am sensitive and I tap into that energy and it's like being 20 again. I love it. And then to have the common denominator being, let's put on the best show possible, constantly working on all these things that we can do to deliver the best show possible. So I'm excited, bro.
Very cool.
What can I tell you? I'm pretty excited. And I just hope I stay in shape because as you can imagine,
well,
if
you're
you
a
look
pretty
at the
fit
days,
guy. You're a pretty fit guy. You're
I
one
am
of those
fit.
rock stars. You're one of those rock stars who's not afraid to shed the clothing. You're not afraid to shed the fabric. You'll show some skin. You'll show some flesh. Yeah.
When the time comes, give me a few weeks so I can get lean. I have a how we perceive ourselves is a different way the way people see you. So
yeah.
I have a thing about going out, and it's just like clockwork. Every time I go home, even if I'm home for 2 weeks, I enjoy being with my kids. I enjoy being with my wife, cooking and eating, and they're up in the morning for school, breakfast, and they eat more than anybody else you can imagine. They're at that age. My daughter's 16, sister's 16, and my son's 12, and they're skinny as a rail, man, but they eat like, and so just hanging out with my family, I pretty much gain a few pounds, and always in the wrong areas.
Well, you look all right to me, man. You look all right to me. And it's funny.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, well, it's great you bring up family there because family first, always, and it is a big thing. And it's funny because, like, I have a 16-year-old daughter myself, and my son just turned 11, so I'm right in the same time frame with you, man. We've got a little boy, girl, the same age, but since you brought up your wife and your kids, let's talk all things Viva La Rock because there's one particular song on your Viva La Rock album, and again, everybody, we are here with Marco Mendoza, and a lot of you know him from the Dead Daisies because we just caught up with him not too long ago with Doug Aldrich, who we spoke with the other day. And we are kicking off the European leg of the tour in Lisbon, Portugal on March 20th. But one of the songs on Viva La Rock, Leah, really got my attention. What's your wife's name?
Leah.
So that's about your wife.
Yes, absolutely. I'll tell you, that song gets more attention than any other. That one and Rocket Man right now are the requests, are the highlights right now. And I'm going to have to work on those. And we're ready to play those songs. But just a little story about Leah.
Please.
I found myself, this is 2017, right? And 2017 was one of the busiest years I've had. The past 10 years have been, let's just be honest.
Right.
Where I go from one project to the other. I'll go home for a few days and then run over to another country to do another tour and then travel to another country to do another recording, so on and so forth. So I found myself in Denmark after being gone away from home for 6, 7, 8 months. It was September, I remember. We finished with the Dead Daisies on September 4th. On the 6th, I went home for a day and a half. On the 6th, I was flying to Copenhagen to meet up with my buddy Soren. And we started from the 6th. From the 6th through the 18th, we were done. 16th, September. And then I started my tour on the 20th. So I remember those dates. So what happened is we start recording in the groove, amazing. The creative juices were flying. The electric was happening. Morten Helborn on drums. We were just moving on. And then we would finish our day at the studio and everybody would go to their homes because they lived there, their wives, their kids, their life. And I go to a hotel. and just like I'm a human being and a very sensitive human being,
Right.
I started, like, in a big way, missing my wife and my kids, my home, my life. And we got to the latter part of the session, and we had a few days, and we had put it off. We said, yeah, we got to do a ballad. We got to do a ballad. Yes, yes. And we, Soren brought these chords out, man, and it just happened. It was like, it was like the planning, the moment was perfect, and I just started going. And he followed me, and I followed him. And next thing you know, I'm in the studio singing, try to sing the song. But you should have seen me, and I'm not afraid of saying this. I was like a little girl, man, that was lost in the. I was like a little girl that was lost in the woods that couldn't find moms or pops or her way home. It was like Judy Garland, man, in The Wizard of Oz. I want to go home. I want to go home. I swear to God, all those feelings. I'm getting chills because I feel the longing of wanting to be with my wife. You know, because we've shared so much life and love and kids, and you know, we've gone through it all.
Marco,
you know
you
what
are
I mean?
whipped. You are whipped, man.
Yeah, but yeah, but in a good way. But for that hour or two that I was trying to sing, we had to take a few pauses. Even Soren was, Marco, you all right, man?
You getting all
Take a
choked
minute
up?
because you could hear it.
Wow.
The voice was cracking. I couldn't, but I think that's what was captured in that song, because that's the song. That's the point that everybody brings up. It's very emotional and very emotional. And yeah, absolutely. I was right in the thick of it. So, yeah. And then I dedicated it to my wife, and I told her, you know, it's just a little way of saying thank you for all the bullshit and all the crap you put up with living with musicians and artists.
Well, I'll tell you,
But
Marco, you're
I know
making
there's
all
a lot
us.
of people out there.
Marco, you make all us average guys look bad, man. I'm telling you, because not everybody can, you know. I mean, let alone the songwriting part of it itself, but your vocals, man. And this is something that we were talking to just prior before we actually kick things off. I mean, everybody. I swear to God, if you have not checked out Viva La Rock, all right, Marco Mendoza's solo album, his solo band, go check out Viva La Rock. It really, honest to God, it is awesome. It's funny because, like we were saying, Marco, I played a little trick with my wife, you know, because I was just, you know, we're talking about wives, you know, so I was just curious about what her thoughts would be on this, because sometimes I cover heavier stuff and, you know, a lot more of the guttural type of heavy metal and thrash metal, speed metal, and she's not necessarily into that. You know, she's into, you know, rock and roll like Lenny Kravitz. Okay, and that's where I'm going with
what we
this.
call melodic rock. If you have to put a label on it, melodic rock.
Melodic rock. So I'm like, you know, Gretchen, you know, I'm talking to my wife. I'm like, take a listen to this song. And I'm talking about Love to You. Love to You. Another great, you know, ballady song that you have on this album. Loved it. And I'm like, just listen to this. And it was very funky, you know. I mean, you had that funky groove to it, you know, you on the bass and everything. I was totally digging it. And I'm like, Gretchen, just who do you think this is? Listen to this. You know, and I didn't tell her, I didn't give her any clue that it was you. And she's like, well, it's Lenny Kravitz. I'm like, guess again, no, you know, and and I'm like, that's Mendoza, because and you know, again, everyone knows you, you know, as a bass player for so many of these great, you know, bands that you've played with and other artists that you've collaborated with. You know, not everyone gets a full dose of just how great your vocals are, man. You know,
Thank you, brother.
Seriously, and you know, it's been what, 7 years since you've done your last solo album?
The last solo album, yeah, and the last solo album. Anything that I do that comes from me, I'm very proud of it. But let's just say the last solo album was so busy that I didn't dedicate the time or focus that it deserved. It was Casa Mendoza. I was in and out of town. I would come in for 2-3 days and go work, and then I'd leave, and then the files were taken to another player and the producer. So when I hear that album, it sounds like that. It sounds like a lot of different moments that weren't focused, in my opinion, and or finished.
Okay.
If you know what I mean.
Right.
It was just one of those. I'll never do. God help me if I have another opportunity to do another album, like it looks like I will, for Mighty Music and Target, same label actually.
Okay.
I'll never do that again. My favorite thing to do is to get in the room like I did with Soren and Morton Helborn on drums.
Right.
Brilliant drummer.
Right.
Check him out.
Yeah, he's great.
And Soren and play, 3 or 4 of those songs we played top to bottom. It was like, and the energy was there. And then the editing and all the overdubs happened later. But to capture the essence of the song, the thing that's not tangible, the stuff that you can't, nobody knows. It's that X factor. It's that magic, that, whatever you want to call it, man. It's like thunder and lightning and oxygen and neutrons and all that crap that come together for that, those few minutes. And you have 3 or 4 human beings playing, connecting physically, emotionally, and spiritually. I know I'm getting deep, but that's what it is.
You are getting deep, man. You're getting very deep.
But you know what? The albums that we listened to, that's what was happening.
Sure.
Black Sabbath recorded their songs in a few days, man. They did that album. And Zeppelin, they were in the same room recording. You can't duplicate that. Right. And they recorded on tape, 2-inch tape, analog. You can hear the distortion. You can hear the overdriven sound. It's just beautiful. And so I am getting back to the compliment that you made and your wife, Gretchen, right?
Yes,
thank you.
Yes, sir.
I am so flattered that you compare me to Lenny Kravitz, because I got to tell you, he is such an inspiration to me. And I so look up to him as an artist, as who he is as a human being, and what he's been able to accomplish as a songwriter, as a singer, as a human being. I look up to people like that, and so thank you.
Well, your vocals are off the charts, Marco. Honestly, I mean, I listened to all of Viva La Rock, straight through a couple of times, as a matter of fact. And man, I'm just like, wow. Seriously, Marco's rocking out, and Soren too, for that matter. I mean, clearly, you could have had your choice with all of the amazing guitarists you've played with over the years. You could have had your choice. And Soren, man, he did not disappoint, as I'm sure that the guys you have with you on tour over there. And again, everybody, if you happen to be in the Lisbon, Portugal region, March 20th, that is where Marco Mendoza kicks things off with Viva La Rock. So if you're there, check it out. And go out to Marco Mendoza's site, and we'll have the URL out there, for all of your tour dates, because I know after that you go to Spain, and you've got a number of dates over in Spain, and you're going to be in Germany, and
this year we're going to be. I'm going to be at the Frankfurt Music Messe, which is the equivalent of the NAMM show in the U.S. That's like another big trade show, and I played there many times. At this time, I'm doing something cool. April 2nd, I'm doing an all-star jam, some big names on a big stage there in Frankfurt at the Music Messe. So look up MarcoMendoza.com. All the info is there, and again, as always, I appreciate the support. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me.
Oh, it's my honor and my privilege.
It's a people thing, man. It's a people thing. People helping each other, supporting each other. Absolutely. And if I can ever reciprocate and return the favor, let me know, man.
Oh, well, I just gotta I gotta come out there to visit you in California, and then we'll hang out.
Come out.
And, we'll drink some tequila or something like that. We'll have a good old time.
Yeah, I don't drink.
Well, good for you.
You don't know that.
You're all the better for it. No, but you're all the better for it. And you know what? I shouldn't, because nothing really ever, came good of, really drinking. Drinking, smoking, those things are not good for you. And I shouldn't do them.
That's another interview.
Yes. But you know what? As far as music videos go, I couldn't help but notice that Viva La Rock was really the only real official music video that you put out for the album, self-titled.
Yes.
Were there any thoughts of doing any other official music videos for any of the other 10 tracks on this album?
There was a lot of plans, and I'll explain that video. That video, if you notice, we had some cameras recording while we come in and just document what we were recording.
Okay.
That's us playing, and then we took a lot of footage for that song. That was the first song, first day.
Right.
And the label went bananas over that song. They said, "This is the title cut. This is the whole thing. We love it. We love it. This is the concept." La la la. So we did it, and then we got so focused. The team was supposed to come back 2 or 3 weeks later, thinking that we were going to still be there, and we weren't. We finished in 12 days, and I was gone. And so the second video was a lyric video,
right?
Which is "Sweetest Emotion."
Right.
Now,
right.
There was a lot of planning that went into doing Rocket Man, because the story behind that song, it's a little bleak, it's a little dark,
right.
Human nature and the dark side of humanity, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I won't get into it, but so that was going to be a little more involved and more production, and a few times we had to cancel because of my schedule.
Okay, all right.
Because I plan things 2 months ahead, and then something comes up, and I'm gone.
Yeah,
and so so we decided to just do with this. I think, just for the sake of it, I'm going to talk to the label. We should do one more.
I think so.
More video.
I think so.
We shot Leah, and it was never right. Okay. The way it was edited, and it was done in a hurry again. And I just don't want to do things in a hurry anymore, man. It's almost like, if I've learned anything in this business now that I'm going to be 85, is it's like you're cooking a pie, man. When you pull the pie out of the oven and it's not cooked all the way, it's not going to taste right. It's not going to be right. So have the patience of putting the pie in. You have the time to get the best ingredients, the best recipe. You put it together, and then you cook it. And you got to wait for it to cook and be ready for it to be. The same thing with consuming music and or videos. And videos now have become such an intricate part of a song.
Right.
So I just don't want to do something just for the sake of doing. And there's so much content out there. I want to do something that's going to stand out, So we've been talking about concepts but our enemy, everybody's enemy at the label, enemy, yes. And scheduling, because now we're global. We used to do everything in LA, right? Now we don't. Now we have to go to Nashville, New York, Japan, Denmark. Denmark is a hub for me.
Okay.
Copenhagen, Rome, London. So there you have different time zones and schedules and all that. So I'm hoping that before this tour is over, that we can plan another video for this album.
So I want to talk to you about a couple of the more songs on Viva La Rock. And again, everybody, if you haven't checked out Marco Mendoza's Viva La Rock, go check it out. Burned.
Thank you.
The song Burned.
Yes.
It almost sounded like it seemed very personal, like a warning almost to everybody. Was that coming from your own personal experiences?
Absolutely. Soren and I wrote that song. That's one of the older songs, actually. Okay. That's one of the only songs that was not written in that session. Those 12 days, it was already there. It was 90% there. We got together after doing a rehearsal before going out on one of my tours. He was still playing with me. I want to say 3-4 years ago. And I had a little run, and everybody left rehearsal, and him and I started writing. And I was in that mode where, as human beings, we get surprised of the results that we get when we do the same thing over and over and over and over. We still expect different results. And that was me telling myself, guess what? You keep doing the same stuff, same shit, you're going to get the same results. You got to change your way of thinking. Do something different. Guaranteed you'll get a different result. So, and this is something that we all identify with, because I do it all the time still. If I don't get enough sleep on a big tour like this, if I don't get enough rest, I'm going to get sick. If I get sick, the show's going to be shit. So it's learning from these past experiences to apply yourself, to apply the information, so they don't keep making the same mistakes over and over. But having said that, Scotty, you know what? We'll keep on doing it, because We keep doing the same, making the same mistakes until we learn, and then we change.
Yeah, right
But
on. Right on.
change until we learn, and we won't be ready to learn until we're ready.
Right on.
So
I'm with you.
it's one of those vicious circles. But for me it's about trusting people and being in the industry that I'm in,
It's
and
tough.
surrounding
Tough,
myself
right? You know, I mean,
and
knowing
surrounding
who to
my,
trust, that's got to be huge, you know?
you said it right.
I mean, seriously, because
Believing
how many people are out for a number one, right? You know, I mean, everybody's, you know, not everybody, but you know, a lot of people they're in it for themselves. You know, and again,
yes,
in your line of work, you know, being a musician, it's like being a professional athlete or an actor or an actress. You know, it's like immediate gratification. It's what have you done for me lately? You know, how
yes,
hot are you right now? How much, you know, from a trending factor do you represent
yes,
right now? And I would imagine that, you know, if you take your foot off the pedal even just a little bit, you know, all of a sudden you find yourself forgotten about, and it's got to be really hard, you know, to get back into that spotlight again, to get back into that
yes,
limelight, to be relevant
yes,
again. You know, if you've seemed to drop off the scene, which for you is not an issue. Clearly, you know, you've had a really good run with the Dead Daisies here, and obviously
I have, yeah,
everybody knows you from Thin Lizzy, and you know, just all the other artists that you've worked with, you know, like Ted Nugent. And yeah, speaking of Ted Nugent, you know,
uh,
you have a cover on this album, you know, Viva La Rock. Hey, baby. Hey,
yeah,
baby. What made you
yeah.
choose that song, other than the fact that you played with Ted, obviously? Was there
Well,
anything in particular that made you say, you know what, I want to do Hey, baby on this album?
it's a song that I included in my set here and there. Not always, but I
Okay.
include it because I'm a big fan of Derek St. Holmes,
Okay.
his singer. I'm a big fan of his.
Okay.
His approach, his singing. He's one of those cats. And recently he's been back with Ted, and he singing better than ever. He's a sweetheart. I consider him a friend. So I'm a big fan of his. One, two. When I joined Ted back in '99, 2000 to do the Kiss farewell tour with the guys, with Ace and Chris. Um, he approached me. He says, "Marco, can you sing something from from some any of these songs that Derek used to sing?" I said, "I'd love to." So I worked on it, and he loved it, and so he included it in the set, and then we did more and more and more.
Oh, cool.
And so, but this is my way, other than wanting to sing, because I love to sing that thing, and I do my own little twist on it. Uh, it's just paying tribute to cats that have left a long lasting impression in my head, in my soul, in my spirit as people that inspire me.
Right on.
And I don't care what people think about him. I don't care what opinions people have of him. I know him one on one as a human being, as a father, as an entertainer, as a legendary guitar player that he is, as somebody that's always looking for the best way, you know, for the solution and not living in the problem. And his delivery is hard and cuts like a knife, and people shut their heads to him because it just, because that's how we are, human beings, right? And I'll include myself in that. So that was just my way of saying thank you for the opportunity of sharing the time with you. I learned so much. You inspire me.
Very
This is
cool.
a little tribute to, and he is one of the legendary cats on the planet, man. I mean, I don't know a lot of guitarists that weren't inspired by him, or that learned a lot from him. That just influenced them. I don't know a lot of guitarists that weren't
Right.
in the U.S. to be honest.
Right.
So it's the same thing. And I saw him recently, and he was gracious. He was great. I took my whole family, and he knows my kids since they were babies, and my wife. He he gave me he's just very generous. Let
Very
me just
cool.
say that.
Very cool. Uncle
He
Ted.
really took
They don't
care
call
of
him
me.
Uncle Ted for
He really,
nothing, you know?
Uncle Ted, man, and I know him like that personally, and I have
Uh,
nothing but respect, and my hats off to him and everything he's accomplished, and more power to him. Keep on doing what you're doing, Ted. We need people like you, bro.
yeah.
Period.
Well,
So
what
that
would
was
be the
my way of
odds?
saying that.
What would be the odds of you, you know, bringing, you know, your solo, your solo band, your band, the Marco Mendoza band, and some Viva La Rock action, and maybe catching up with, Uncle Ted, your Motor City Madman for a spell or two, because I know you've got the 45 days over in Europe. Got to get you over to the States, man. What we got to do? How we got to
Well,
facilitate
yeah,
this?
yeah, we were talking about, well, all this helps. This is part of the process. I've been offered some dates in California.
Okay.
I've been offered some dates in Texas, dates in Illinois and New York. So now I got to connect the dots, right? It's got to make sense. I got to get the players together. It's logistically, it's a lot of work. It's not as easy as you think. I don't have a set band. I have a team in the UK. I had a team in Italy. I have a team in Denmark, and then I have players that play with me in California. So, first of all, the first thing, Scott, I have to have the time.
Right.
I'm thinking 4 to 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks to dedicate to booking the U.S. But I promise you and the fans out there, it's coming. I'm
awesome.
just be a little patient with me. I definitely intend on coming out and doing my set for you guys in the U.S. because I love the U.S. That's where I'm from. Right. I love the fans there, and I know there's been a lot of requests. We're going to put it together. I have a good agency right now, so they're going to back me up, and we'll see what we can do. Maybe at the beginning of next year. I'm thinking maybe January or February are good months.
Very cool.
Because there isn't a lot going on, and it allows me to have the freedom and or the time to put it together, So those are the plans. We'll see. It could be sooner.
So do we already know that there's not going to be any conflicts with the Dead Daisies again? Because I know you'd been running ragged with them too.
Well, there you go. The Dead Daisies is my priority number one.
Okay.
Right now, we're on hiatus. We're a bit of a break. And I think, as far as I know, we're going to pick up back in June.
Okay.
And more will be revealed. Just stay tuned to the Dead Daisies.
You already got follow-ups from Burn It Down? Yeah, we got some Dead Daisies follow-up from Burn It Down?
Yes. There's some stuff cooking that I'm not really allowed to talk about until, we'll do the official press release and all that. But there's some stuff we're talking about June.
Okay. All right.
So that in the meantime, we all stay busy with our own little projects and sessions and all that. So this is what we do. We do music. So I would find it hard, to be honest. And I've had this conversation with my wife many times because she notices. Even though she loves having me home and with my kids and all that, she says, after 2 weeks, honey, you get itchy and you become... It's playing live and playing music has become such a part of my DNA that when it's not there, the person changes, So yeah, this is what we do, and I give her a lot of credit for,
Well, you've written your wife.
So,
you've written your wife a love song just for her,
yeah.
So she can give you a little bit of slack,
So but you know what? She's always done that. She's she's my number one fan. She supports me. She understands. She wants me to go out there. And she knows that this is a passion. It's not only our livelihood. It's not good. It's not only good when Papa leaves because he comes home with the bacon. It's something it's good because it's in my heart and my soul and my blood and my DNA. This is what I love doing. And I wouldn't be the person I am if I didn't. She knows that. Right. She absolutely understands that. Right. And not too many people can say that. And we have a beautiful home. We have a beautiful life. Awesome. We have just a very cohesive relationship. I love her to death. I would die for her, and I think she would die for me. And we have 2 beautiful kids, and awesome. Life is wonderful, man. And she's got her career too. Right on. So she's actually publishing a book. I shouldn't say anything, but
okay,
it's coming out.
All right. Well, that's cool. That's very cool. All right.
From her perception, which is going to be very cool because it's the other side looking in,
Right
so on and on, so on and so forth. So it's all good, brother. Thank you for taking the time. I appreciate the support.
Always, Marco, always. So everybody, again, Rock Titan Music Television Nation, we are here with the one and only Marco Mendoza. and he is on tour over there in Europe. So for all of our European audience over there in Eastern Europe, make sure you go check out all the dates on marcomendoza.com. And again, we'll have all the links out there. And if you have not checked out Viva La Rock, I cannot enforce this enough. Go check it out. It really is a great album. Marco, thank you so much again from your time over there in Romania. You know, we've got quite a time difference here. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Sure. My pleasure, man. And let's do an update in a few weeks, see how it's going.
Yes,
let me know.
That would be awesome. I would love that. I would love that. All right. So everybody, I'm Scotty J here with Marco Mendoza. We're out.